So, Mark, the day is finally here. We learned a ton about what's going to happen with Hard Rock Las Vegas as they take over from Mirage later this month. And they laid out a timeline, everything they're going to do. And it is a lot. They were in front of the Gaming Control Board to get their final approval for their licensing. And boy, did we learn so much. Let's start with some of the renderings and we'll go into the details of exactly what they're going to redevelop, casino, hotel, everything. So stick around for that. But let's just look at that rendering of the strip with the guitar tower. That thing is huge.
Yeah, it's definitely redefines the entire strip and will be the most, I mean, I guess outside of the sphere, maybe when it's all lit up and everything, that'll be kind of the thing that draws the eyes to. What do you think when you're coming in on the airplane, what do you think will draw your eyes more between the two things?
I'm not sure. I think both of them will probably be, especially with the sphere lit up, I think they'll both be pretty iconic, but this kind of stands above everything else in the area. I guess Venetian Palazzo, or Palazzo specifically, is quite tall, so it's probably about the same height. Yeah, this will definitely be an icon of the Las Vegas Strip, especially because it sits right there at the bend in the Strip, that what they call the 50-yard line. So it's going to stand out from people as far south, I think, as like MGM Grand. You'll be able to see it.
Yeah, I think anybody a little bit north of there is going to be upset with their room view unless they really want to look at a lit up guitar going forward, because they're going to be blocking out, the rest of Vegas, it feels like. But you don't know until you actually are in there and you see what the footprint looks like. But in the renderings, it looks like they'll definitely be, basically just a parking garage, but a guitar instead.
So we knew about the guitar tower, and the height is going to be somewhere between 500 and 666 feet, somewhere in there. They're waiting on zoning approval. Yeah.
That's a weird.
Well,
you think you'd say 667 just because, or 665?
I'm pretty sure that's what they said. I might have made that up, but I'm pretty sure that was the number. And they basically, based on what they can get approval for, Jim Allen, the CEO of Hard Rock, basically said in the gaming control meeting that they built the one in Florida too small. That's 450 feet. They wish it was taller, that it's already done so well successfully with selling out, and they're already in like year 6 or 7 projections. I think it's like 3 years old. So yeah, they're doing really well with it there. I wish they had built it bigger, and this one is going to be bigger. But I feel like the guitar tower is like the least of the news here because there is so much to cover. But we did also learn that the guitar tower is going to have about 800 suites. So it's going to be all suite, and it's going to add about 800 rooms. And it's also going to have its own infinity pool on the Strip. The Mirage Volcano is going, although in the meeting they said about 18 months before we see construction start. So I guess the Formula One people are going to get their way, and that race is going to be pretty pristine with the Mirage still there, and then we should see heavy construction.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, and that they were kind of pushing to not have it all tore up and looking weird and everything. So that is cool. It gives a lot of people time that care about the volcano or want to see it one last time. 18 months will give pretty much everybody that wants to get out there a chance to. So that's really cool. And yeah, I don't know, all suites. I wonder how expensive it's going to be. I imagine it's not going to be cheap. Probably one of the more expensive base rooms you could call for a tower out there, and it's just going to be kind of insane, I think.
Agreed. The one in Florida, I've wanted to stay there quite a bit, and I've been in South Florida quite a bit the last couple of years. Every time I look, it's like $700-800 are the cheapest rates at the guitar tower specifically. So yeah, it's not going to be cheap.
And they want more room. So I can only imagine Vegas is going to be like double.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy there, and those are going to be really high demand because of the views and because of the amenities there. So let's talk about some of the numbers behind this change. And before I do that, I want to preface this. In the 90s, we saw a lot of the old casinos like the Dunes and the Sands get imploded and torn down and redeveloped into completely new properties. But Mirage had brought in that new era of mega resorts, and basically Mirage is big enough that they don't need to tear it all down. They just need to redevelop it. This is like the 2022 version of the implosion, and that's what we're going to see top to bottom. And this is some of the numbers that they talked about. Right now, Mirage has 3,044 rooms. After the renovation, it'll be 3,640 rooms. So they're adding 596 rooms. So if the guitar tower has 800 rooms, they're subtracting a couple hundred from the main towers as they renovate them. And that's probably a good thing, probably adding more suites, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was wondering how many of the guitar tower was compared to what they're adding and stuff. And I'm guessing, knocking down some walls, opening up some space, which will be nice. A lot of times you see somebody come in, they just kind of put lipstick on it or put some paint and new carpet and stuff. So it sounds like they're going to actually be modifying a lot of stuff inside, which is a little bit unique these days, I think.
Yeah, and I'll get to that in a second because what he said is basically they're going to gut this place. So let's look at the slots. The casino currently has 836 slots. The new casino will have 2,000 slots. So over doubling the amount of slot machines. Listen to this, 51 table games right now. They're going to add 161 more table games for 212 in Hard Rock Las Vegas. So more than quadrupling the amount of table games. And
how many
also,
will actually be open at one time, though?
Yeah, I don't.
You go into a pit and you're like, it's packed. You can't find a table, and half of them are not open or whatever. So I'm sure they'll use it on the weekends, but during the weeknights, probably be similar numbers, I would imagine.
I have been to Hard Rock in Florida and Atlantic City in the last couple of years, and they have giant amounts of table games, and they're all open and full when they're busy. So yeah, I expect that they think that they'll have the capacity for that. And as you say, in the slower times, which happen, a lot of that will be closed. Just like in any casino. The casino square footage is going from 94,000 to 174,000. It's not quite clear where they're picking up this square footage, although we'll talk about it a little bit later. They are building completely out to the strip, and you'll see that in some of the renderings as we go through this. Convention, they're adding 83,000 square foot to their 200,000 convention center, adding an additional 3,000 seats to make a Hard Rock Live theater, so it'll be over 6,000 seats when it's done. And currently there's 18 restaurants at Mirage. They said there will be at least 21 when Hard Rock is fully transitioned, maybe even more. So just from those stats, I mean, this is a expansion. This is a big deal for what they're going to do to Mirage. This is not going to be the same property. And you'll see that from the renders as we show them here. It's basically a top-down thing, especially the strip frontage. It just won't look the same.
Yeah, and the fact that they're, we haven't talked about it yet, but that they're shooting to do this, floor by floor, step by step, and be open during it. I can't imagine the amount of logistics it's going to take to make that happen. And then to keep the guest experience high while there's still construction going on will be tough. I don't know that I'll go into it until it's all done. I wouldn't want to stay there during construction, even though they might, they're professionals, so they'll probably be able to hide it from people. But this is a big, big project, and to stay open during it makes it even more difficult, like 2-3 times more difficult.
Yeah, and Jim Allen said that they do plan to stay open, although if they have to close for some reason, they will. So they'll see how that goes. Perhaps they'll renovate each wing of the tower. But let's start with this. They're going to gut the tower. I mean, he said that you're going to see exposed concrete. They're going to take out all the glass. Even the bathrooms are going to be ripped out. And that's a good thing because the bathrooms at the Mirage kind of stink. That's sort of one of the worst parts of their rooms there. I like the rooms a lot, but the bathrooms are tiny. So it looks like even within the rooms that they have, they're going to re-envision that space to make it a little bit more modern. And yeah.
So what about the tubs? What about tubs? Did he say
there's no room. Those rooms are not big enough for tubs. But you'll probably get a nice walk-in shower. But ripping out the bathrooms gives them the ability to design the room however they want. And it costs a lot more money to do that. So it shows how committed they are to making this into a new property. And, I was at the Taj Mahal, the Trump Taj Mahal, that closed in Atlantic City that turned into Hard Rock. And I was there about a month before it closed and got to see what it looked like. And I've now been to Hard Rock Atlantic City twice. And it really is not the same property. Like I could look really closely and say, oh, that used to be here and stuff. But what they did with that property in the transition is really like almost a miracle. I can't just say how bad the Taj Mahal was at the end and how you wouldn't even know that those shells were there. So they've done this before in Atlantic City. So, they have a track record with it. So yeah, like the other kind of interesting thing, did you see this, Mark, that they talked about back in the late 80s when Mirage was built, they still had catwalks above the casino for surveillance where people would walk up and look down on patrons. Yeah, so they're going to rip those out, and that's going to allow them to raise the ceiling height in the casino substantially, which I know you're a big thing on heights of casinos. Yes. That's one of your problems with Resorts World.
That was one of my pointers, and I was just going to bring up Resorts World that it's not quite high enough. Like I really like to feel not enclosed or to not notice that there's a ceiling above me. So I think that's a great move, and that's something you feel inside Virgin too. They just painted it black, and it just it's an eyesore. It sticks out to you. Low ceilings. I love when you go into a casino and it's 3 stories, 4 stories high. I think that makes all the difference for sure.
All right, Hard Rock is known for their pools, and I had previously hoped that a lot of the animal enclosures and stuff would turn into pools. Seems like that's not quite happening, but Hard Rock has confirmed that they're going to rip out the Mirage pool and build a Hard Rock quality pool, something that fits their brand better. The current pool acre is 2.5 acres. It's going to double to 5 acres, so they will use a little bit of that land from the dolphin habitat and the secret garden, it looks like, but not all of it. So that's kind of reserved for future expansion. But they're also building like another almost 2 acre pool, an infinity pool along the strip at the base of the guitar tower. So you're going to have a brand new pool area for the main hotel, and then the guitar tower will have its own infinity pool overlooking the strip. Much better, I think, than Resorts World, which kind of has that. And I think eventually we'll have that as they build on their dirt lot. But in the case of the guitar tower, it looks like this is going to be right over the strip, which is unique and kind of cool.
It definitely cool. I'm guessing they're gonna keep that pool only to Guitar Tower people that are staying there, so that's kind of an incentive to book, versus being able to hop between the two. Like I'm sure Guitar Tower can go to the main pool, but only Guitar Tower can use this pool, and that will be kind of like a status symbol almost. I'm sure it'll be full of Instagram posts and everything like that. So I think that's really cool because they have great sight lines and everything, especially at night. I'm guessing they'll put a nightclub somewhere in there, something along those lines. That'd be kind of amazing. So, Hard Rock's always known for their pools. I wish they would bring the lake like they did in Florida and kind of what Wynn wanted to do at one point. That would be really amazing, but, that's such a cost.
Well, they are bringing something very interesting to this trip. We're losing the Volcano, but they talked about a music memorabilia museum that looks like it's going to replace sort of where the Siegfried and Roy statue is, north between where the current Mirage is and Treasure Island. So that's right where that Siegfried and Roy statue and that parking garage are. But he kind of went into detail that was very interesting. He said there's going to be a show of some type, a technological show, along with the museum and a gift shop, of course. So it does seem like they're trying to put some sort of attraction out on the strip to, replace the Volcano. And hopefully they come up with like a really cool rock show or something like that. That was an exciting piece of news that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. And, that's kind of gone away of having that thing that brings you in from the strip. So I'm glad to see them going that. Hopefully they do something with the statue. They don't just get rid of it. I know that will probably upset some people if they don't repurpose it somewhere or move it to somewhere or somehow incorporate it. I don't know. Be interesting to see what they do with that.
And just a few other tidbits. The Guitar Tower will have its own little casino, 200 slot machines, 12 table games. There's going to be shops, as you can see in the renderings, that go all the way to the strip. There's this one rendering where you can kind of see Harrah's on the right and Hard Rock on the left across the strip, and you see a new pedestrian bridge. So there's a lot of development there. There's also another rendering you can see the new entrance that sits kind of right next to Forum Shops, and they said they're working with Caesars to make sure that it doesn't mess with their stuff. So the Mirage is really expanding out all the way to the strip, kind of like we see down south with Cosmo or Aria and City Center, where you have the sidewalk and then the casino's right there. Especially on that side of the street, that's sort of rare. And this is one of the reasons the Guitar Tower is going to stand out so much, is because all the kind of hotel towers are built further back off the strip. If you think about, Caesars and Bellagio and that. So it's going to be kind of wide open.
Yeah, I like that move because there's nothing worse than when you get back to like you're staying at Bellagio and it's hot out and you have to walk that long walk all the way up to get into the hotel, and then you have another really long walk to get to your tower potentially. There's a lot of distance there, and that's one of the reasons we like the Waldorf, because you walk out the front door and you're basically on the strip, you move on. Same with Aria and stuff like that. So I like that they're pushing everything out instead of just having kind of unused space just for like viewing purposes, but not actual useful space. So I'm glad to see that. I think that'll be something cool that draws people in. I'm curious to see what they do with the smaller casino that's on the strip. Do they kind of make it its own, like we've seen in the past, where it's kind of a separate, like O'Shea's almost at Link? Is it kind of like a unique brand, or is it just a big part of, an extension of the bigger casino? I'd like to see them do something a little bit different and add a little flavor to it there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And the atrium does seem like it's staying based on the renderings. I didn't see all of the video, it was hours long, but I did watch Jim Allen speak. I didn't hear him talk about the atrium. It does seem like the atrium is going to stay. And if it does, it's going to now be in the middle of the property, not at the front. So, there will be some separation between maybe that mall or the shops in the front, the casino, the Guitar Tower, and then the rest of the casino. So yeah, I mean, we'll learn more of that as time goes on, but super interesting stuff. And here's the timeline, 18 months before they kind of get everything going. They're still negotiating with Vici Properties. We talked about Vici on the last show. Vici does own the land in the building here. So Hard Rock bought the operations for about $1 billion. That money's sitting in escrow. So the good news is, as soon as the Gaming Control Board gives approval, this deal will close likely around December 22nd. That's when the final hearing is. But they said architectural drawings by summer 2023, using all local companies for construction. Construction hopefully beginning 23, early 24, 26 to 30 months of construction. And then they expect the Hard Rock name to come in 2025. As we've talked about before, they have 3 years from the date of closure to use the Mirage name under licensing with MGM. So it's going to stay the Mirage for a while, even through all of that construction. And then in the end, you'll have Hard Rock with everything fully integrated in about 2025. Jim Allen said there's a few different ways to finance this. And basically with these, sales and then leasebacks, the contracts have said, that they have to negotiate for any improvements and how that's done, because obviously Hard Rock coming in and spending billions and billions of dollars to improve it, and then it's all owned by Vici, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So they have to figure that out. They said they can also negotiate with other REITs to potentially fund this. I don't know how that ownership thing would work. And they said they also have the option of funding it themselves. But obviously they're going to negotiate with Vici to make sure that the financial terms work for them. And that's still something that's ongoing. So we'll get more information on that as it goes. But Hard Rock seems to be moving full steam ahead. He did say, the economy could potentially affect timelines. So, if we have a dire economic crash or something, you could expect this to get pushed back. But I think Hard Rock is all in on getting this done. A few other things, they talked about the relocation of the animals, and Hard Rock basically said it's not in their company philosophy to have captive animals, and that MGM and Hard Rock are splitting the cost to relocate them. And he specifically said he doesn't want them going to zoos. He wants them to go to wild habitats, They can't go into the wild, but habitats where they can, be in a wild sort of environment in a safe way. So not like an aquarium for the dolphins. It's more of a natural setting. So it's good to hear that. Also learned that all the employees are going to stay on at Mirage, and they're, keeping things going as it is. And then the last kind of bit of news is that the Unity by Hard Rock loyalty program will take over on day one, as we've talked about before. So no more MGM rewards as soon as this closes.
MGM property Mirage with Hard Rock rewards for a couple years at least, But I'm looking forward to it, and what I like about it is, they have a history, they have a cohesive idea of what they want to do, and it'll be drawn out throughout the property. And Circa has a very similar thing. I think that's why I like it so much. Is he had a vision and he brought that vision, and it connects all the way through. And I think that's why Virgin and Resorts World doesn't sit so well with me, because I don't really know what what they're going for type of thing. Like Virgin, you see different companies did different things. It's kind of all over the map. In Resorts World, I'm not even really sure I don't know who that casino's built for. Is it, they have EDC coming in, but I don't think they're trying to go towards young people. That's just like a random one-off. They're not quite high-end. They don't, have a huge gaming profile to bring in gamblers. So I don't know who are they aimed at. Originally it was supposed to be Asian influence, and they backed off of that. So you just kind of have like a hodgepodge of stuff, and I think that's why it doesn't sit well with me. It has good pieces, but they don't come together so well.
Hard Rock has this figured out. I mean, they have tons of casinos around the country, regional casinos, the big ones in Florida. I mean, the one in Hollywood, Florida is just stunning. I mean, you could just take that property, put it on the Strip. You would never even know that it wasn't, a Vegas Strip property. And like I said, the one in Atlantic City is incredible as well, especially when you consider what the Taj Mahal looked like before they took it over. And yeah, this is basically almost a ground up build. I mean, they're using the bones, but unlike renovations we've seen, like the lipstick on a pig renovations we've seen in the past at places like Tropicana or even some of the Caesars properties, this is a new property. It's almost like one property's dying, another one's coming. And this is exciting. This is, for me, as exciting as seeing Fontainebleau and some of the other properties, maybe that Tillman Fertitta casino. I think with all of this news, it's confirmation that Vegas is definitely heading into a new era with new properties, Resorts World being the first one, but we have 5 or 6 different projects coming, the Dream Hotel and also the Tropicana redevelopment. So fun and exciting times, I think, in Vegas over the next decade.
Yeah, I think this is the one I'm looking forward the most out of all those. It's going to be the biggest of them. I think it will be the best done, or the most unique of them. And I love the Atlantic City property. It's probably my favorite one in Atlantic City. because it is on the beach and everything versus Borgata, which is awful little ways. And then I've been to the one in Florida, but I haven't been since they added the lake and the guitar tower. But I remember enjoying the property. The pool area was really cool even back then, and it was just a small pool area with a bar underneath a fountain or a waterfall, and just really serene vibes out there. And inside was fun. All the dealers were great. So I'm looking forward to this a lot. I wish it was quicker, but that's a lot to undertake, so I understand.
Yeah, Hard Rock makes amazing pools. The one at the Guitar Tower in Florida, I'd say it's probably 4 to 5 times the size of the existing pool from before, which is also still open. And I would go out to say it's probably the best pool area I've seen in just about any hotel in the world, maybe with the exception of like Grand Wailea in Hawaii. So it's incredible. I would look forward to the pool that they're going to build here in Vegas, or the pools. And everything else, I mean, there's nothing about this project that looks bad to me. I am sad to see Mirage go. I'm sad to see the Volcano go. That big guitar tower does look a little bit like a monstrosity as it dwarfs over Treasure Island and other stuff. So that's a potential issue. Although, again, zoning may make them make that smaller. I'm assuming that rendering is the tallest version that they can build.
665.
just take it down a notch. Yeah. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about all of this. I mean, so much that we covered here. And I hope you guys enjoyed all of the renderings and some of the footage I've thrown in from the Hard Rocks in Atlantic City and in Florida, so you can kind of get a vision of what might be coming to the Strip. This is an upgrade, I think, for Las Vegas. And with Resorts World being so new, Circa downtown, Fontainebleau coming, Tillman Fertitta building a casino, the Dream Hotel on the South Strip, Bally's buying Tropicana and potentially redeveloping it. It is an exciting time for Las Vegas ahead, I think.
And Bally's getting renamed. You forgot.
Yes.
There's
and
so
the
many
Horseshoe. And the Horseshoe. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about all of this. Is that guitar tower too big? Are you excited about the renovation, that they're actually going to gut the hotel rooms, do all of this, build it out to the Strip, the pool area, everything that's happening, that taller casino floor? I know Mark got so excited about that. So let us know in the comments. And if you like the channel, don't forget to subscribe, smash that notification bell, and we'll be back with a new show in just a few days. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you next week. Have a good weekend.